received an honorary doctorate from Corban University.
Let's see, I'm going to text message here. No, I'm actually going to set the timer, Commissioner Carlson, so I know how particular we are about being on time at the commission. In fact, one of the first things I learned when I got to the Board of Commissioners is at the state legislature, if you were 5 minutes late to a committee, you were on time. In the commission, if you're not sitting in the seat 5 minutes before the board meeting starts, Sam is with his black eyes staring you down. So I got on time really fast. I want to say thank you to Linda for sponsoring and being here today, and for the support in this room for myself and for the commission over the years. I want to say thank you to a staff that I've got to know over the last 9 months, led by John Latimer, who's here, a sheriff, our legal counsel, Gloria, Roy, Jan, Colleen's brand new with this, and Alan, who heads up our Public Works Department, and there's a few other people, Hatesh, who waters my fake plants. I just want to say thank you to the staff for a great job that you at Marion County as citizens can be proud of the people that are employed that do all the behind-the-scenes work that we have to take care of, or that take care of us for us. So my first 9 months, and I guess what you realize as I got introduced, but before me, Sam got introduced, you need to know who your county commissioners are. Garbage hauler, hamburger flipper, and you'll hear that Janet is the professor with all her doctorates, so you know who the smartest one in the room is at all our meetings. The last 9 months have just been a whirlwind for me, being appointed and then being elected. And you wouldn't believe all the meetings that we have to go to and sit on, and all the commissions that we get to go to. I've been going to a county college that has been great education for me. It's put on by the Association of Oregon Counties. I'm learning how to be a better county commissioner. But one of my most productive things I've done in the last 9 months is Commissioner Carlson and I went back to Washington, D.C. about 3 weeks ago, and we met with the Oregon Department of Agriculture, the EPA, the EDA, the Economic Development people, and learned how we can work with the federal government to bring some of the resources that we so dearly need in some of our depressed areas, and specifically in the Santiam Canyon. And I want you to know, Marion County is very large. You go past Idana when you're up the canyon, and you're still in Marion County. So we have a very beautiful but depressed area in the canyon. So my focus has been in economic development. And the next time, or if you look up at that slide, there's some statistics up there. You probably can't see them from this direction, so I'm going to read you one that's not up there that I think is extremely important as we move forward over the long term in Marion County on economic development. The per capita income, and you can look up the definition of per capita income, but it's basically the gross domestic product of Marion County divided by everybody who's 15 years and older. Our per capita income is $23,316. That number's not up there, George, so don't look for it. I knew you were looking for it. 23,000. The state is 26,800. So Clackamas County, which we get compared to a lot, because there's about 380,000 citizens in Clackamas County, 320 in Marion County. Clackamas County's per capita income is $32,781. So there is a $9,000 differential, basically almost, 33% differential in the per capita income between Clackamas County and Marion County. So we have a very poor county when you compare it to other places in the state. And I don't want to say that to be negative, but I want us to know what we really face here and the job we have ahead of us. If you took that number that we're behind Clackamas and you multiplied it times the 320,000 citizens that we have that earn that income here in Marion County, or the families, we'd have $3 billion more in income a year in Marion County. Imagine what $3 billion would do for the things that we need to do in Marion County. So the state to the north of us, their per capita income is 30 some odd $1,000. So Oregon's behind Washington drastically as well. The next slide. So what can county government do to impact economic development? You're going to see 5 strategic areas up there. But the basic things that we can do is make sure we have a strong and efficient customer service in our public works, to get the planning department, to make sure our roads, that we have a strong farm-to-market infrastructure, as Sam talked about. And you'll hear Latimer talk about this all the time. If we don't have farm-to-market roads, we're number one in agricultural at $640 million a year in agricultural production. It's number one in the state. If we don't have a good road system to get that product to market, along with places like modern building systems that ships things down the road, then we're not going to be able to take care of the existing businesses that we have. Community Services Department, we have a great staff that staffs that, and some of our EDAB board members that are meeting this afternoon are here with us today. Strategically aligning all the organizations within the county and even Polk County to make sure we're working together. I sit on the SEDCOR board. We have private sector resources that we need to align. We have federal resources, state resources, county resources, cities, and nonprofits that all need to come together to make sure we're focused on the right things that with the minimum resources that we have, so we can move this county forward and provide better incomes for the people that live here. The next slide. And Janet, my timer went off, so I think I got a couple minutes left. This is where our funds have been invested over the last 5 years in economic development. And I'll just draw attention to the far slide on the left, or the far graph on the left. That is driven by the Oregon Garden. It's a little bit over $500,000 a year. I don't know if you know this, but we support the bonds at the Oregon Garden. Long-term strategy, those funds will become freed up in a couple of years, where we'll be able to reinvest those, redirect those in other strategic things that we think are important. We will continue to support the Oregon Garden from an operations standpoint, and that they have a great foundation to move forward. The next number that's up there is we spend a lot of our money on planning and helping with the things that need to be done for growth. We spend the next one on tourism, so we invest in SEDCOR. Well, we invest in SEDCOR, but we also invest in Travel Salem and GROW, which is an economic organization up in the canyon. And our future investments, 5 to 10 years from now, we put this slide back up there, I think you'll see a different trend where the money's being invested and how we're strategically aligning those funds. The last slide, and then I am done. I want to share with you, yesterday I was in the Capitol. Boy, is it good to be in the Capitol and be on the other side. We were in the Capitol on statewide day talking about the OSU Extension Services. And I don't know if you know what OSU Extension Services does, but if you've ever seen 4-H at the fair, if you've ever seen the Research Center, which actually is housed in Clackamas County, but those people come down and help us with crops. There's a huge amount of things that OSU Extension Service does. We fund that through our general fund, and we have, as commissioners, and a lot of work was done before we did this, referred on the ballot here in May. You're going to see an OSU Extension Service District that you'll be able to vote on, which will support that with stable funding for our #1 agricultural economic driver in our state. You'll get a chance to vote on that. It's 5 cents a thousand. The normal $200,000 house, it'll cost them $10 a year, and that'll raise us somewhere in the long term about $900,000 to $1 million a year to help fund the ag extension service. It's great to be here with you, and thank you for all you do for helping Marion County and our community be stronger. And we got a lot of work to do, and I'm looking forward to doing it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cameron. Our next and final speaker is Commissioner Janet Carlson. She was elected to the Board of Commissioners in November 2002 and re-elected in 2006, 2010, and 2014. Her accomplishments as commissioner include raising community awareness around prisoner reentry and reinvigorating the Marion County Fair. Commissioner Carlson is a past president of the Association of Oregon Counties and served as a state representative in the Oregon legislature in 2001-2002. She taught French and social studies in public schools for 10 years, was a budget analyst for the state of Oregon, and served as budget director and regional coordinator for the Oregon Commission of Children and Families. She is a summa cum laude graduate of Willamette University, holds a master's degree in political science from Brigham Young University, and a PhD in education and public policy from the University of Oregon. Commissioner Carlson.
To bring this down just a little bit. I think we're good there. Can you hear me okay? All right, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank SEDCOR for hosting us today. I was thinking back to 2003, which was my first year as a county commissioner and my first State of the County address. And we were in the senator hearing room with about 10 people in the audience speaking to the CCTV camera. And we had no time limits at all. So we went about an hour. It was Patty, Milne, Mike Ryan, and myself. And I'm not sure that anyone knew we were even giving it, but we felt pretty good about it. So this has been a really nice move to come here where we actually have an audience and people to share this information with. Second thing is I've been getting a lot of heat during this conversation. I've been accused of striking Sam in the eye and being a stickler on time. So I just want to say, just don't believe what you hear. I do kick them under the table every now and then. I elbow them both every now and then, but other than that, I'm pretty easy to work with. So Sam started because he was the outgoing chair, and I'm the incoming chair, and so I go last. But last year, I actually pulled my notes up, and I was the outgoing chair last year. So how did that happen? Well, it was Kevin being added to the board, and actually he would have been, I think, next in line to be chair, because Patty was next in line to be chair, but he said, no, I want to have some time to learn. And so we kind of re-rotated the positions. And so that's the kind of person he is to work with, always very giving, very interested in learning more, and brings a lot of energy and a lot of new ideas to the board. So we're just really happy to have him here. So I'm going to talk about three things, and as Sam said, we cannot possibly touch on everything that Marion County does. You have a lovely brochure in front of you that describes our county goals and gives you some highlights. Even it doesn't talk about everything that the county does, and we can thank Jolene Kelly for helping us put that together. She is our public information director or coordinator. I don't know what her title is, but she does a great job for us. So I'll talk about Kaiser Big Toy, and then I'm going to talk about public safety, and then just do a little bit about budget to wrap up. So every now and then, you have the opportunity as a county commissioner to work on a wonderful community project. And in 2003, I believe it is, when I became a commissioner, I was asked to be on a task force in Kaiser called the Kaiser River Task Force. It had an extra R in it. I can't remember what it stood for. It's Kaiser. I can't remember what it stood for. We said we were talking like pirates all the time. So that was the group that started putting together a park down by the Willamette River. If you take Shamawa Road and go straight out to the river, it's just south of Shamawa Road. It was roughly 120 acres when we started out. Includes 85 acres that is owned by the state of Oregon and leased to the city of Kaiser. For I think no cost at all through Oregon Parks and Recreation Department. There were 2 private parcels of land. Marion County bought a recreation easement and a conservation easement. And you can see on the pictures up there, it's just on a beautiful bend by the river. Not a huge rapids at Kaiser Rapids, but hiking trails and bike paths and open fields and just a gorgeous spot. If you haven't been there, I would highly recommend it. There's a recent property purchase that the city of Kaiser has done that adds another, I think, 28 acres to the 120 acres. And that is an orchard, and the trees just came down last Tuesday, and we are building a number of recreational amenities there, one of them being the Kaiser Big Toy. So when you hear about the Big Toy, and you can change the slide now. Thank you. When you hear about the Big Toy, you think about, a little jungle gym in a schoolyard with some bark dust around it. This is much beyond. It's almost called the Big Toy facetiously, because it's going to be a huge state-of-the-art playground out there in the Kaiser Rapid Park. It's being done all with donated labor, with grants and contributions from the community. It was designed by 3,400 Salem Kaiser school children, so they all drew pictures of what they wanted in the playground in sequence. They had focus groups, and then they had landscape architects that came in and they unveiled it to the community in a really nice community meeting. So all of those features are being there. Some of our culture and history are being included. There's going to be the Wallace House log cabin and the Smith Rock climbing wall. So those are really neat. And then the volcanoes are buying us. They wanted to have a volcano on it, so they're actually building a volcano that will have a slide that comes down through it. So lots of neat ideas that are going to be in this playground. It will be built June 10th through 14th over a 5-day community build. So if you think about the Gilbert House, how it was built, and you think about the extreme makeover at the deaf school, kind of like that. We need volunteers for food, childcare, painting, swinging a hammer. We have a website, www.kaiserbigtoy.org. So if you're interested and want to have a team and come together and have some fun the week after school's out, it is Roast Festival week. We're hoping it doesn't rain, but we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. We were recently endorsed by the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce Public Policy Committee. We presented there, and we're going all around presenting to neighborhood associations and Rotary clubs and trying to get a lot of grassroots community support. So I just wanted to highlight that for you today. The second issue that I'd like to talk about is public safety. Every year I've talked about the Marion County Reentry Initiative. This is an initiative that helps people coming out of prison transition successfully back into the community. We have about 3,600 people on parole and probation, and between 500 and 600 coming back on post-prison supervision. When I first started talking about this, we had 700 people coming back on post-prison supervision, and now we have about 520. I think I confirmed that number recently. Part of the reason that we have fewer people is because of the good work that is being done by the Reentry Initiative. In 2002, about 36% of our population committed a new felony crime within 3 years. That number dropped last year. The statistic was 14%. So we went from 36% to 14%. Pretty incredible. Yes. Commissioner Cameron serves on the Governor's Reentry Council, and they're working on this at the state level. We work in partnership with the Department of Corrections. We had a luncheon right here in this room several months ago about employment and trying to get more employers interested in hiring people that have a criminal background that have turned their lives around. We're also working on housing, on family issues, on treatment, on education. So it's a really broad group of services that help people turn their lives around, and we're very proud of the work that we do. And Deb Giard is nodding back there, but she was involved in that presentation and did a fantastic job. The second item that I'd like to talk about in terms of public safety is the Public Safety Coordinating Council. And when Patty Milne retired, I assumed the chairmanship of that group last summer in August. We have 27 people that serve. Don Fredrickson here is one of our citizen members. The Marion County Sheriff, Jason Myers, serves. We have judges, district attorney, chiefs of police, department heads in health and community services. A number of nonprofits all work together on these public safety issues. We're working right now on a plan for House Bill 3194 funding, which is that justice reinvestment funding, capping the prison population and reinvesting the savings back into the community. We're also working on a number of interesting issues, and I'll just throw them out because we don't have a lot of time to go through each one of them, but marijuana legalization, that's going to be an issue that enforcement's going to have to deal with. How does it align with medical marijuana? We adopted an ordinance last year on medical marijuana dispensaries, youth access, and county issues ranging from land use to taxation. Body cameras, there's a work group of chiefs of police that are looking at that, and our sheriff is involved with that. Mental health. Marion County has state-of-the-art mental health services, and we use that to help divert people who are mentally ill from jail, because jail is the worst place to help treat someone who has mental illness. We have mobile crisis teams. We have a 24/7 psychiatric crisis center. We have jail diversion managers and mental health teams. We do crisis intervention training. And we also do evaluations about whether people are able to aid and assist in their own defense. And finally, juvenile services. We're working on a bill with the legislature and with the Oregon Youth Authority to implement intensive in-home services here in Marion County. If you think about it, if you have a youth who is troubled, and you send them to residential treatment, and their family is from here, and you send them to Albany or Portland, because we have virtually no beds here, and then they come back and go right back into the same family with the same friends and the same dynamics, you're going to just get the same thing over again. So the idea of actually working holistically with the family, with the youth, with their peers in intensive services makes a lot of sense. And I'm proud to announce, and it just came out today, we were under a non-disclosure agreement up until about 11 o'clock this morning, but Marion County is one of, I think, about 7 places in the nation that was chosen to do a pay-for-success technical assistance grant, which means that we'll learn how to do long-range contracts where we pay